Hi guys, my name is Thandiwe Muriu and this is my YouTube channel. We're currently going through a series for beginners where we talk about really maybe complex sounding photography concepts and try and explain them as simply and as easily as possible. Before we jump into today's episode, I first want to say thank you to anyone who is viewing for the first time. If you want to get videos like this every Monday and Thursday, please hit the subscribe button. For those of you who are returning viewers, thank you for being so awesome and following the channel. So today I want to talk about how do you shoot in tight spaces. A reality of shooting as a Kenyan photographer is that many times we're going to be working in spaces that are just not so ideal. They're really cramped and tight. So how do I get good pictures while shooting in a really tight space? There's four main things I do when shooting in a small space. Usually I run into this problem when I'm shooting morning preparations for the bride. I feel like grooms get ready in really big rooms while the bride goes into a very small cramped space and you're still expected to get amazing pictures of her. So the first thing is I use a wide lens. If you don't know what that is, I actually discuss the different types of lenses in this episode. So please click on that link to get more information. What is a wide lens? It's anything from 10 millimeters to maybe about 50 millimeters. The one thing you have to be careful about when shooting wide is that if you go really wide, so closer to 10 millimeters or even lower than that, there's usually distortion on the corners of your lenses. So people around the edges of the lens look stretched or they just don't quite look like they're the normal shape and proportion. So be careful about that. But otherwise, using a wide lens really helps you see more of the room because instead of seeing the scene you're photographing like this, it views the scene like this, allowing you to capture a lot more in that small space. The second trick I use when shooting in really tight spaces is I look for the corners of the room. The nice thing about a corner is there's nothing behind you, so you're not missing any action. And I squeeze myself into the corner so that I can maximize the amount of room that my lens can see. So putting on a wide lens and then going into the corner allows you to view a lot more of the scene because you've minimized the amount of space behind you. That's a really simple, easy one. The third thing that I do is actually going up. So if I'm shooting on a wide lens and I've gone into the corner and I still just can't get enough of the scene in front of me in my viewfinder, I'll actually take a chair into the corner with me and stand up. Because when you look up, it just changes the perspective of the scene, and on top of giving you creative pictures, it also allows you to see more of the room. So number one, go wide and then go into a corner. If that still doesn't work, then go up so that you can see more of the scene in front of you. The last thing I do to solve the problem of shooting in really tight or small spaces deals with a situation where I need to light the space that I'm shooting. So my preference is always to bring in my strobes and bring in my light modifiers like the umbrellas and the soft boxes. I'll talk about those later. But they're really big. So sometimes in a small space, you don't have the luxury of being able to fit in all your lighting gear as well as see enough of the scene in front of you to take good pictures. So in that case, what I do is get my flash and mount it on top of my camera. So a flash like this one. This is a SB700. And if you want to know more about shooting with flash, you can click on this link to go and view that episode. So I get my flash and I mount it on top of my camera and I just point it up at the ceiling like this. The nice thing about small spaces is they'll bounce a lot of light. So you can get this very soft, beautiful light that almost looks like you were shooting with a strobe. One thing to note though is it works best if the room is white because then the light is a nice white soft color. But if the room is painted red or blue or another color, what happens is the light will reflect back with the color of the walls. So you may need to fight with your white balance a little bit in post-processing, but otherwise bouncing the flash in a small space works really well because the whole room acts as your modifier, which gives you a very soft and beautiful light. A quick mention, usually another problem with small rooms is that they're very dark. So the two kind of come hand in hand together. So if it's very dark, remember that you can actually reduce your f-stop. So shoot really low, f2.8, f3.5, f4.0 to let in as much light as possible into your lens. What you're doing effectively when you use an f-stop that's larger is you're making the opening in your lens go from a tiny hole like this into a much bigger one, allowing the little light that's in the scene into your sensor. If you want to know more about aperture and how to use it in your shooting, you can click on the link to this video where I talk about depth of field and your aperture in general. Thanks for watching the episode. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below, or if you have any comments about what you do to shoot when you're shooting in tight spaces and to deal with the challenges of shooting in tight spaces. If this is your first time viewing the channel, thank you for watching. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button. You can also give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, so I know what you want to hear more about. If you're a returning viewer, again, thank you for being so awesome. I really am excited to share your photography journey with you. Any gear that was mentioned in this episode is linked in the description box below, so you know where to get it. If you want to interact with me on other social media platforms, you can reach me on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and off my website www.thandiwemuriu.com. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.